Magnetic power bank, 4000 milliamp hours. You can try it in the shop. That one's green. Well, if the one in the shops get power in it. It's Home Bargains and it's Pifco. It looks as if maybe they've bought the Pifco brand name, because I don't think you can get Pifco anywhere else now. I'll do a close-up. Type C cable, the output will be 5 volts and 2 amps, which is 10 watts. And for the wireless, it would be 5 watts, so 5 volts, 1 amp. Watts equals volts times amp equals power. It's a Type C input, so it's not Type A like the usual type, and that's 10 watts as well, 5 volts and 2 amps. It says there the input will take 3 hours, but I don't know if that's at 5 watt speed, because if your cable can't do 10 watts, it will default back to 5 watts. 5 watts is the tortoise speed, the default speed. So if your cable or your phone can't do 10 watts, it'll probably be able to do 5 watts. That's the sort of fallback. Type C, mummy. Type C. Not Type A. Type A, no. That's not Type A. That is Type A, actually. Not Type B micro. Which... So you can use this cable on that. Yeah, I think Type C has been around since like 2014, but the manufacturers we're still using Type B micro. I don't know why. But 2 or 3 years ago, Apple iPhone done away with Lightning and they brought in Type C. So everyone's Type C now. We should have been 10 years ago, but we aren't now. So if you don't know your phone can do wireless charging, in the shop, as long as this has got power, you can put your phone on. I've not got a phone that does wireless charging, so that's a way to find out. I've got earbuds here. Obviously if it's ran out of power, that won't work. It's excellent info in the packaging, so well done to Home Bargains, because in the old days we used to buy stuff and we didn't really know if it was any use for us. It says fast charge, 10 watts, so that should be half the time you're used to with the 5 watt tortoise speed one. I just noticed as well that you can charge something in the wireless and you can also charge something wired at the same time, but I'm guessing that'll split the watts in half for the two of them, but I'm not sure. To charge it up you would probably use something like that. Not unless you've got one that's Type C to Type C charger. But if you're actually using the cable to charge something, it'll need to be Type C at both ends, I do believe. Yeah, well, you'll need to have this sort of connection at both ends, not that. So, or if you're using a micro B to use something to charge up, you'll need to have Type C in one end and your Type B in the other. You can buy adapters though. This is like eBay. This one's Type C to Type A. So for this you would need sort of, if you had a micro B, you would need a micro B to a Type C on that end. And I think that would be Type C male, micro B female. Don't quote me on that. So it says it should charged up in 3 hours, but I don't know if they're talking about in 5 watts or 10 watts, because if you've got a charger and cable that can charge at 10 watts, then that would mean 1.5 hours. But they don't say, so that's the only info they've left out for me. I find it pretty hard to get Home Bargains stuff out, the packaging. Actually, it came away at the bottom. I don't know if it's meant to do that or if there was something in it, but when I pulled it out, it came away. I've tried it a few places. 120 grams. 19. It's got the info there, so that's good. I'll show it later. I think this button is to tell me how much charge it's got left. And it's got three symbols, 3 lights for charge. They give you a cable, but it's not Type C to Type C. So it's Type C to Type A. Oh yeah, I guess with this cable you can charge it up, but you can't connect it to a device with it. Well, you could if your device uses Type A, but most don't now. So I guess this is the target zone. What's this thing in the front for? But it's not working there. Target zone. Green light. All systems are go. This charger from Temu, which was like £3 or something, it says it can do 5 volts, 3 amps max, but I don't think it can. But we might find out today, folks. I've got the measurer out. I recommend these things. I don't know why devices don't give you this info, you know, anyway there or something. Maybe the dearer ones do, I don't know. But I'm using the cable that came with it. So that's 5 volts and nearly 2 amps. So that cable can do 10 watts then, really, I think. If it was tortoise speed, it would be 5 volts and 1 amp. Or probably 0.95 or something. So I'm getting double that, really. 5 volts, 1.8 amps equals, I'm calling it 10 watts, alright? Power in watts equals volts times amps. That means this Temu thing may be up to scratch after all. It only cost about £4 or something, maybe even cheaper. I've got a Silvercrest one here. Is that Lidl? I think this one says it can do output 5 volts, 2.4 amps, 12 watts. So this should be the same. Alright guys. Alright. Yeah, it's going to creep up there. Same, sort of same. Yeah. So that can do 12 watts max. It's nearly doing 10 watts. Well, that means the cable that comes with it can do 10 watts. So that's pretty good because a lot of cables can only do 5 watts. I can't get a lighting good for this, so I'll need to try my best. Magnetic power bank, that's good as go the info there. 3.7 volts. Yeah, lithium ion batteries actually work at 3.7 volts for some reason, I don't know why. So even though they usually say 5 volts, it charges 5 volt stuff, it's really, I don't know, it's working at 3.7. The input anyway, don't know about output. 4,000 milliamp hours. I mean, that's pretty good, but nowadays I'd probably want 10,000 or something. And they should call it just amp hours, you know, they should call this, that would be 4 amp hours. What is it, 40 amp hours? I think it's 4. Yeah, because an Apple iPhone is 4 milliamp hours at the moment. But Apple, I mean, there's Moto phones that are 5,000 milliamp hours. You know, I don't know why Apple are so behind with their iPhones. Maybe it's so you just keep buying them every year, you know. They give you an extra 50 milliamp hours or something the next year. Input 5 volts, 2 amps. So yeah, we got that. So the wireless charging is only 5 watts for your output. So you can only charge stuff up at 5 watts there. But if you use a cable, Type C to Type C, it'll be 10 watts. Or Type C to micro B if you're using a micro B thing. Probably need to get an adapter, I would imagine. So yeah. And there's the TGM Limited, that's Tom Morris, Liverpool, that's the name of the guy who founded Home Bargains. So they obviously own the Pifco brand now, probably bought it. I'm calling 64mm, 95mm, about 13mm. There's what I was using, which is a 10,000 milliamp hours. It's actually a Home Bargains one, again. I buy everything in Home Bargains. Maybe we all do. That's only one thing in it, but you can charge, you can use the two at the same time, so you can put something in the wireless, something there. I don't know about charging up and using wireless. Yeah, you probably can. Definitely, probably. So I mean, this is a lot heavier, because all that's in these is lithium-ion batteries that look like AA batteries. But for an iPhone, it should get you one charge totally, if you're, you know, out and about or whatever. Here's that other one. 178 grams. Alright guys, it's just time for the artistic shots really, so... Oh yeah, I'll show the booklet at the end. Yeah, it seems good. I mean, I think nowadays everyone should have a wireless charging phone, and I'm guessing eventually we'll end up, we all have wireless charging phones. I guess at the moment it's a bit of a price luxury, because I've noticed the ones that have wireless charging are a bit teether, you know, it's a bit like buying a 4-door car rather than a 2-door. So they know that we desire them. You know what I'm trying to say, you know that? Yeah, I've got earbuds at the moment, so I'll be using them. Yeah, it's all looking pretty good. It's just, all it's time for is the artistic shots, okay? £10. I don't know if that's eBay's cheaper, you know, but you don't know what you're getting in that, but it's not bad, £10. Nothing to see here. Safety instructions, who cares? I've not used it yet though. Guys, I came up with a system. I've put 2 on this so that I know that this can do 2 amps at least. So that's 5 volts, 2 amps, 10 watts. I know this. I should have put 10 watts on it actually. I would have put Pifco on it, but I couldn't get it to fit into that, you know. I think they're meant to use a sort of colour code, you know. I keep reading about conferences, they've decided on a new colour code and that with the World Federation people, but nah, there's nothing that will tell me this wouldn't be a tortoise speed 5 watt USB, because a lot of times that can be the weak link, you know. You've got the charger, you've got the phone that can do 50 watts, you've got the charger that can do 50 watts, but it turns out your cable can only do 5 watts, you know, so that's what you'll get. I remember now why I put 2 amps, well I put 2 because sometimes it's the voltage that go up or sometimes it's the amps that go up, so I think in this time it's 5 volts 2 amps, but sometimes they do it like 10 volts 1 amp, you know, so it depends. That's another confusing thing. Yeah, all this stuff should be labelled or colour coded or something so we all know, but instead it's all a mystery, maybe deliberately, so we buy the wrong stuff.